This is promising. If someone's waiting, it means we're in the right one.
Yeah, that's me.
So we'll talk to ourselves. See, this is funny when I just go to Michannel.
I see you.
It says it is live. Aha. Huh.
So,
And when I launch here, and there we are. Well,
Did it.
that's because you are
I figured it out. I did it last
you are
time.
the genius.
I don't know what you did though, because
You go to the plus.
Yeah.
You go to live.
Mhm.
You click on your scheduled one. Then you go live.
Interesting. Okay.
All right.
Get off a lot of the dust off of
You
this.
could get a job at Denny's.
We were eating on the table outside, but apparently.
It's a picnic table.
So, I guess, it's really pretty simple. Welcome back to another edition of the Bob attempting to do technology and making sure Kallam can make it happen while Thomas is just happy to be here.
They had a carbureted version. YouTube. Be all over.
My float would be stuck. Holy cows.
Can't see this, but
Well, I think that's
we
why
can
this
move
was-
it to this side.
But it doesn't show what we were gonna try to stretch. But that's okay. Thomas and his big table. See, if we had the little table, we wouldn't have to worry about this.
Oh, my fault. All right. Then.
So, what do we want to chat about today, guys? We've got our '94 Amigo with our Beast Wars Challenge project. Go, Bleep and Jeep, and all the other contestants out there, and all the banter we've had on the messenger group you put together, Thomas. It's been a lot of fun. Tell me, what have we done to this thing so far?
Well,
I forget.
We've been driving it around.
It is now driving under its own power, and it has a plethora of power. You're welcome.
Yeah.
So we've now have exhaust. We've adjusted the valves. We've reset the timing. Pulled the distributor and discovered it was 180 degrees out of whack. Fixed some vacuum leaks that needed to be done. One ginormous vacuum leak, which I think garnered me a free coffee from Thomas.
Yeah, still you that.
A foo-foo coffee at that.
With the umbrella.
That's right. You guys have pulled the air conditioning mostly out of it. We've got a power steering leak, and we've got a significant power steering leak, but that's all going to come out anyway, right?
We solved the coolant leak though.
Solved the coolant leak. I was trying to do the most difficult fix known to mankind, upside down, backwards, reaching into a strange space, and Kallam here, he says, I can see this right from the wheel well.
Perfectly wide open right there.
Yeah, it has a 3-inch body lift. You can just reach into the side.
Yeah.
I was surprised that, even though the engine is small and the engine compartment is large, because the engine is so compact, it's hard to get to anything.
Yeah, it is a bear. It is a bear. But you drove it last night in the dark with the kaleidoscope windshield.
Yeah, I couldn't see a thing.
But he did keep it pretty straight in the road, only killed it once.
And your kid wanted to go with me. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to go. So you're not. No, I'm not gonna roll over and get in a wreck with us both in here.
Not gonna happen. How'd it drive?
I'm used to driving 4-bangers on little cars with tiny little pistons. The 2.8 liter is like 50% larger pistons than a regular 4-cylinder car.
Right.
And so I was actually shocked how much low-end power than torque this has.
It is a beast.
And he still killed it off the line.
You could probably pull off the line in 3rd gear.
We'll have to try that later.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to prove a point, I think.
It's got a lot of torque. I think it's like 150 foot-pounds of torque.
Pretty good for a small package like
Just a
this.
tiny little engine. Yeah.
So what do you guys want to accomplish today? We talked about it a little bit last night, but you can see this tire that Caleb's leaning on. That's a 35. What is that? A 10.5?
Cam 3.
Cam 3.
Or a Cam 2.
Cam 2.
Not the tire we're going to use, but the ideal size we're looking for,
Seems like it.
which is a 35 1250 R15. Or close.
So, you know, I see a lot of the builds out there. They're going up. They're pretty tall, pretty tall. What do you guys think we're going to land with this? Are we going to try to stick with the spring, the leaf springs we're going to put on, and do a spring over and just let it sit where it may? Or are we going to try to stuff this up and keep it kind of a low rider rock crawler that's got a little bit of reach?
I personally like to keep things low, but it's not entirely up to me. And also, we're kind of at the mercy of, you gotta do like limited fabrication, as little fabrication as possible. And so, I think I'm gonna try to put the front axle on, and however tall it is how tall it's gonna be.
In other words, it's a great question, but we really don't know.
Don't know.
I like the idea of having the tires kind of stuffed up in there and having it kind of reach its way around, but I guess that is really going to depend on wheelbase a little bit and what we're going to do. What we were measuring last night, we're at 92 or so inches wheelbase.
Yeah, 92 inches, and that's a great point. I think that because it's so short, if you lift it really tall, that's even less center of gravity because the wheelbase is short.
That's right. That's right. And I think our target is we're looking for about 100-inch wheelbase. Is that about what we were looking?
Yeah.
What's the next, Jay?
101.4.
101.4.
Yeah.
Encyclopedia here. He'll spit out any spec you want on an XJ.
Only on XJs, mostly.
Insert MJ with bed, and it's all good to go. Uniframe.
Saw one this morning.
Yeah. Hey,
Not the one in your driveway.
Oh,
there.
no.
So I've seen 2.
2 today.
Yeah.
Nice. So we were thinking last night as we were looking and playing with this tire and kind of rolling around a little bit, we want to probably try to take our extension out front to keep our weight up front, don't we?
Yeah, and it should be easier with the leaf springs to mount something to the front of the vehicle further out.
Right, because if we extend the frame and do a bigger bumper out front for those shackles to mount to, that puts a place for our, what do we have, our yarn skein winch to put on there.
Tiny winch.
We don't want too heavy.
Yeah.
Right?
So by pushing the front axle forward, we can build a big chunky bumper on the front.
Yeah.
This is like a 1,500 pound winch right here.
We'll have
Oh, yeah.
better center of
Sweet.
or better approach angle the farther your axle is forward, even though it's leaf sprung.
Yeah.
You get your axle tube away from your engine oil pan, because the further forward, if you get it, if you set it right, you have more clearance on up travel. I don't think that technically I don't think that you're moving your weight forward. You might be moving it a little back because you're moving your engine, the whole car moving backwards. But
I guess I did say that backwards, didn't I?
yeah, but I think it'll work out just the same.
The axle
Because-
probably weighs as much as the engine.
Maybe more.
So I got a question here. Wire Geek Smith from Seward.
I know that
Alaska.
guy.
Nice.
Oh,
What's the plan on steering? I cannot see the stock Amigo gear being useful. I
Yeah.
think we concur on that.
Yeah.
Um,
So he must have seen this car before.
Yes, well, I think so. Well, what we decided last night between us, we've probably got 3 or 4 different steering boxes we could use.
Yeah.
We've got an XJ steering box. We were definitely looking at doing a hydro assist of some kind, because we're gonna run the Dana 44 up front. And if we're on 35s or even the 37s we have, see what they stick, that's a lot of stress on there. So I don't know if, kind of looks like we'll be modifying whatever goes under there. We can make any gearbox work that we want.
Yeah, especially since we're gonna have to make our own gearbox mount.
Mhm.
It opens up that possibility of using whatever we want.
Yeah. I think if we do a bigger power steering pump, we already have the divorced reservoir, fluid reservoir. Kind of interesting. This little Amigo is set up almost like a big block Chevy, but on small scale. I think that gives us a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, and on the steering topic, I think that because we got rid of that smog pump on the driver's side, there's room to make a custom bracket and put whichever steering pump that we want as well.
Yeah. Well, I know a guy that's getting an arc droid.
Oh, really? Who could that be?
Wonder who would that guy be? He can make us some
Yeah.
primo brackets, huh?
Yeah, so I ordered a arc droid from the boys down at Grindhard Plumbing Company. I shot them an email and they said the arc droid counts toward entries for their Dodge truck and some
Oh, that's
cash.
what you were talking about last night. You're
Yeah.
gonna win a truck.
Yeah, they're
I
doing a
was slow on that,
giveaway.
but I didn't pick up on that.
They're doing a giveaway, so I bought an arc droid, and so I'll be able to make brackets and stuff, and not have to order everything and wait for 3 weeks for stuff to get to my
So
house.
much for my future as a bracket builder for alternators on old Renix engines.
Well, see, the neat thing is you'll be able to hand me a piece of cardboard and say, "Hey, I need a metal one of these," and then I'll go chop it out of some a plate and bring you a metal piece.
Nice, nice. So we've been working out of my shop for these first few little things. I think tonight we're gonna take it over to Kallam's shop and get set up for some work there in the next couple of weeks. So that ought to be a whole lot of fun. What are we targeting? Probably mid to late June or so, getting this over to your shop?
Yeah, well, I think we're going to Caleb's shop.
Right, we'll go there tonight.
You're the next shop boss.
Okay.
And I'm sure that if we do a live from Kallam's house, it's going to be smooth like butter, on time, everything's gonna work. From Bob's shop, give me a screwdriver and a grinder, I'm good all day long. Technology,
Yeah,
it's not my friend.
yeah, because you've got 4 kids, and they'll just show us how to do it.
That's right. Just set the youngest, how old is your youngest?
6.
Yeah, I think a 6-year-old probably would have this set up quicker than me. But I mentioned that because as 3 different YouTubers here working on this project, we wanted to bounce it around a little bit. But a lot of the heavy lifting is going to take place in Thomas' shop, because that's where we're going to do the axle swap. And we were talking last night about building an exo cage.
Exo cage.
Mhm.
So the off-roading community is divided
Yeah.
on exo cages.
What do you guys think that are listening? Should we do just a simple hoop and an interior roll bar and keep the body lines like they are, or should we follow some of these lines out here and put something cool with a rack on top? I don't know. We like get what you guys are interested in also.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't like exo cages because it's ugly. But
Well, they just didn't do one like we will.
yeah, and there's an argument that exo cages aren't as safe
Mm.
because normally when you do a cage inside, you have all these tie-ins and
Oh, gotcha.
and stuff. But I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to do a main hoop
I think so.
on the inside in addition to an exo cage,
Yeah.
and then we can get creative with tubes and stuff outside.
I think if we start with just from a safety perspective and what's required as an entry in the Beast Wars is that we probably get that hoop for sure first and then build from there. Don't you think?
Wired Geek Smith says off-road community is right. He's divided as well.
Does that make you partially safe and partially just about looks there, Wiregeek? Is that why you're partially divided?
What's nice about the exo cage is you can rub that against rocks and trees and it doesn't get the body.
Yeah.
This body's actually in pretty good shape. There's a couple of rust spots that somebody slathered some Bondo on before we bought it. But it's actually overall not too bad a shape, so it'll be fun to cut it up.
I guess one question is this: which would you rather have? Would you rather have your off-road vehicle look ugly because it has an exo cage on it, or would you rather have it look ugly because it's beat to crap from all the rocks you rub up on?
Or would we like to try to make something that just looks cool for the Beast Wars challenge, because we got to get, what, 8 or 10 miles out of this thing to start with, right?
Yeah.
We got to make for good video anyway.
Yeah.
We have a surprise that we're not going to divulge, that we're working towards, that we'll reveal at the competition in October with our Amigo, and something it might produce for everybody. Was that a mysterious enough comment?
Yeah, no, that works. Robert says do an internal roll bar as well.
Yeah.
And the thing is about like an exo cage is easier to cut off if you hate it later.
Right.
Like after October, after Christmas, if you decide, because Bob's actually interested in keeping this thing.
I'm interested in for 2 reasons. One, it's a fun build. 2, my bride actually likes it. That's important. If Mama's happy,